Hello, and welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Scott here, and it's been some time. It's been quite a bit of time since I've done an unboxing, and I am sure I am rusty. But, for all of us who do this for fun, rather than out of necessity, life tends to intervene and always takes precedence, so delays will be had in these fun little videos that I do, but kind of getting back into the swing of things with the original aspect of doing an unboxing here. So to kind of, kick off the dust and, oil up the, oil up the gears, we're just going to do a traditional unboxing of something that I picked up recently. It is a bit of a collector's item. It is something that's hard to get a hold of. Like always, when I'm looking for things such as these, so they fall into my lap, I tend to try to get the best deal that I can. And I think I got a really good one for this special little package here. And so, rather than take a, time that I usually do getting sidetracked, let's just go ahead and kick on in and see what's inside this little package here. I did happen to find my trusty Coleman camping steak knife. It has been quite some time since we've had an accident, so we're just going to start with day 0 with this one. So day 0 without cutting myself with this thing, and we continue onward. So what do we have inside here? Well, to be perfectly honest, it is something that I already have in a different version. I did get the reprint of this. It is a rare little item. I guess that wasn't the best way to cut it open. Let's try this. Oh. And by the way, we have a new desk setup here. So I don't know if I have the lighting configured properly. I don't know if the sound configured properly. So this is kind of like a test run. Wow, this one's super. Ugh. There we are. So, for frick's sake. I guess that's a new thing, struggling. But as we slide it out of its protective seal, what do we have here? Well, for those of you who are not aware, this is a Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure. It is a mini campaign setting. It was originally printed in this box right here. It has thus been reprinted in a hardback book. And but not much difference between the two other than the fact that you get the little extra bells and whistles that you normally wouldn't get in the hardback book. But there is an important piece in here that is likewise included in the book, so you're not completely missing out if you are unable to get this hard-to-find copy here, and you decide to go with the wonderful, wonderful reprinting that Goodman Games has done. So, the Chain Coffin. Chain Coffin is a widely popular mini-campaign, as mentioned. It's different, though, than your more traditional fantasy setting that Dungeon Crawl Classics usually produces, as it takes place in a fantasy version of the Appalachian Mountains. The box set itself includes, as stated on here, a limited foil cover edition of the level 5 adventure, DCC number 83, the Chain Coffin, and there's also short bonus adventures in here, or adventure, the Rat King's River of Death. There's a special puzzle in here, the spinning wheel puzzle, that's utilized within the adventure. And, when you're looking for reprints of box sets, we'll take, for example, the reprints that is being done through Drive-Thru and in the DM's Guild of the old, looks like I'm a bit at an angle here. Oh, well, like I said, this is a trial run. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Straighten that up. There we go. It doesn't look like it's as weird of an angle. But anyways, the WotC reprints of the classic box sets from TSR, they are a wonderful exception if you can't get a hold of those things, because a lot of them are stuck behind collectors' paywall pricing, which is a shame. But, some of the things that you'll miss out in is like the Dark Sun, the little flip books that comes with it. Of course, you're not going to get the maps with that. But one of the wonderful things that Goodman Games did with their Chain Coffin reprinting is it does include a fully functional spinning wheel puzzle inside of it. But back to the box set here. Additional 2 campaign booklets, the Almanac of the Shutter Mountains and the Chain Coffin Companion, 2 additional adventures set in the Shutter Mountains, Sour Spring Hollow Level 0, and the Woeful Caves Under Yonder Mountain Level 3. And, of course, an 11-inch by 17-inch hex map of the Shutter Mountains region. So this was originally priced at $50. Didn't have to pay much more than that. I am always surprised when I find people selling collector's items such as these, but their loss is always our gain. So let's take a look what's inside. Like I said, it has been a while since I've done an unboxing, so there we are. And of course, we've got beautiful artwork on the front. And the Shutter Mountains is a setting written by Michael Curtis. So first off, we have a fold-out map of the Shutter Mountains. So it is a hex crawl style adventure as you make your way through this fantasy region, which, as mentioned before, is kind of a fantasy aspect of the Appalachian Mountains and the culture and certain things within. But of course, there exists humans and I believe dwarves and other of your standard fare that you would find in your average DCC adventure. But don't quote me on that if I am wrong. Okay, so we have the companion here, and dealing with magic of the mountains, various spells and curses, dealing with the religion of this region. And like all things, they're going to include other wonderful bells and whistles, and patrons, of course. Patrons that are, entirely focused upon the adventure that you're playing in. Along with some monsters, along with some monsters that are, specialized for this particular adventure. Random encounter tables. Of course, you are never going to not get a set of random tables with DCC. We have the level 0 adventure, which, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I was lucky enough to play in this several years ago on an online con. I believe it was it may have been one of the DCC online conventions that they started during lockdown, or it might have been one of the adventures that I played in when the Grognarn Files started their virtual Grogmeet Con. It was a great adventure, and it's a wonderful introduction if you're looking to start at 0 level and continue on through the campaign, rather than just drop your DCC characters right into the mix. Oh, yes, I remember this map very well of the Hob Farm. Not going to spoil it, but I don't know. There's good DCC funnels. There's great DCC funnels, and there's fantastic ones. But to be fair, I haven't read a bad one or have played in a bad one. So I would say this one's probably good to great. I played in other ones, but this isn't really meant to be kind of like a standalone. It's meant to introduce you to the adventures that you're going to find as you venture further into the region. So we have the level 3 adventure, Wovel Caves Under Yonder Mountain. And these are all relatively short. Yep. And and again, one of the things that you're always going to get with Dungeon Crawl Classics adventures, it doesn't matter if it's a box set, their modules or their books, you're going to get a wonderfully detailed and artistically rendered map. Unfortunately, and this is a personal opinion, as wonderful and as fantastic as these maps are, they are kind of difficult to utilize in a play session if you're dealing with less than dishonest players, because usually the artwork contains spoilers. And if I have done if I'm usually playing in person or if I'm playing online, I'm lucky enough to have at least a decent amount of skill to Photoshop these little clues and hints and spoilers out of the maps. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that they are wonderful maps. We have the Almanac of the Shutter Mountains. This is going to give you detail of the land and the history. And there was a specific adventure or book that I believe Michael Curtis was inspired to do the chain Coffin. I was kind of hoping that it was mentioned here. Is it not? Yes. Okay. The Shutter Mountains was born from an eccentric idea. I had to pay homage to the works of appendix and author Manly Wade Wellman. Yes, that's him. My goal was to transform the rich culture and folklore of the Appalachian Mountains into, sorry, I lost my place. Folklore of the Appalachian Mountains, so evocatively portrayed by Wellman in his Silver John series of stories, into the sword and sorcery genre. It seemed a wild scheme, but Joseph Goodman was both generous and equally crazy enough to grant his permission, and thus DCC 83, The Chain Coffin, was born. I personally have not read any of Wellman's books of in the Silver John series. I heard they're fantastic and definitely worth checking out for sure. I mean, it's inspired this wonderful box set right here and all the adventures therein. So, I mean, it's obviously something that you could go to for inspiration and a wealth of ideas. Oops, hit the mic there. Like I said, new desk, getting situated. Okay, so yeah, so this you've got a little bit of about 11 or 12 pages, dealing with the aspects of the Shutter Mountains. So okay, so this kind of points out what I may have misrepresented earlier, and that is demi-humans in the Shutter Mountains. So just kind of touch on this briefly so you know what to expect. So since the days when the Serpent Men were driven out by the first primate tribes of humanity, the Shutter Mountains has always been a land where mankind was a dominant race. Even during the Hassalian occupancy of the hills, the number of human slaves far outreached both their sorceress masters and the magically created overseers that managed the mines. It is only recently demi-humans have ventured in the Shutters, and despite these adventurous souls, it is likely the Shutter Mountains will remain a bastion of humanity. So there you go. In his envisioning, it's primarily human-centric, but he's allowing, kind of allowing an entry point for those people who enjoy playing the demi-human races within the Dungeon Crawl Classics without, compromising the general integrity of what he's going for with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And likewise, there's nothing wrong if you were just making it human-centric. It's your vision. You can detail the rules of the land as however way you want, and people can choose to portray it that way, or they can take it and make it something else. That's kind of how it works in games. So anyways, okay, so here we are, primary influences here. So let's just want to touch on this briefly. Again, for those who aren't familiar with this, but they may be familiar with his influences, mainly the books of Manly Wade Wellman, Who Fears the Devil, The Old Gods Waken, After Dark, The Lost and the Lurking, The Hanging Stones, and The Voice of the Mountain. So quite a bit there. The Firefox book, edited by Elliot Wigington. I have never heard of that. Rage Across Appalachia by Jackie Casada. Pumpkinhead, 1988. And then we have some secondary influences here. Pigeons from Hell, Fangs of Gold, and The Shadow of the Beast by Robert E. Howard. The Lurking Fear, The Man of Stone, and The Whisper in the Darkness by H.P. Lovecraft. The Descent. So we've got movies here. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Okay, sold. He could have just put that in primary, and that would have been enough for me. The Long Lost Friend by John George Homan, and Wildwick County, a series of articles by the author appearing in Fight On magazine. Wow, Fight On magazine. Wow. Okay. So there we go. And here we are. So we have the foil copy and the still in the shrink wrap. Well, so we're just going to touch on this while I decide and debate if I actually want to open up the foil copy here. We've got the wheel. You know what? Fuck it. It's Dungeon Crawl Classics. If I'm going to be running this game, I'm going to be using it. And for those of you who are cringing and screaming, you're well. Again, I'm debating it. We'll leave it as is for now. So the collector side of me is saying keep it in. The Dungeon Crawl Classics fan of me is saying open it. But touching on the back here, so you've got the spinning wheel here, which is a predominant puzzle within the game. And the Dungeon Crawl Classics reprint does provide this to you. To be perfectly honest, I don't remember if it's the same size or not. I think it might be a little bit smaller, but regardless, it still functions the same way. It's not some flimsy piece of whatever. It's a nice bit of cardboard in the back that you can use without losing an aspect of what makes the game. So we got there. Yep, the foil wrap cover. So, well, I'm going to read to you rather than open this up, as I'm still having an internal debate over that. And I'm just going to read you the description of the back for the adventure so you can kind of get a general idea of what it is to expect. So a whisper calls from a coffin bound in chains, urging the heroes into the depths of the Shutter Mountains, a place rife with superstition and forlorn secrets. In the shadowy pine-grown valleys of the deep hollows lurk mysteries of a bygone age and a new evil emerging from the ruins of the past. The adventurers must plumb the mountains' secluded reaches to root out the rising terror before the power comes to fruition. Standing in their path are cackling witches, subtle devils, lingering spirits, and foul things that moves in the night. Can the heroes appease that which lies within the chain coffin and thwart the dawn of a new and terrible age? Starring or featuring Pa Beginty. We've got Ma Beginty. We've got Anne the Rat King in a bonus adventure. So we've got some starring roles here. So for those of you who listen a lot to the Old Gods of the Appalachian, I'm sure it's going to touch on some of the same cultural, and locational aspects similar to that. And if that's your jam, I mean, you've got a nice available version of this in their reprint that you can pick up and check out. So I mean, there's really not much to show in here other than just everything is individual little modules as opposed to the book. It's just one big book with everything in it. But like with all things Goodman Games do in their reprints, there's going to be additional artwork in there, more than likely, information on the creation of it itself, probably more information about the history. And likewise, I believe there's some additional, maybe like a retrospective of the inspirations involved within the book itself. So you're getting the trade-off is you're getting all the little fiddly bits with the box set, and likewise, it is a very rare collector's item. But in the book, you're going to get some additional information regarding that. So looks like it's spun a little bit. Fuck. Okay. Well, like I said, we're getting situated. This was kind of like a retrial run as I kind of get things figured out here at my new location, and kind of dust off the old, the old bits with me and doing unboxings because it's been a while. So there you are. That is what essentially you're going to be getting inside the box of the chain coffin if you are lucky enough to get a hold of it. And if you do, hopefully it is at a widely discounted price and not bloated with collector's pricings due to its rarity. And who knows? I mean, probably not likely, but maybe they might do a reprint of the box someday, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Goodman Games has a lot of other things they're focusing on right now, and they've provided at least a second place version of it if you want to get your jam on with the chain coffin. Well, there you go. I think this is a record for me. I didn't go off on too much of a tangent. I didn't babble here for too long about other things regarding what was the primary focus of the video. So yeah, I am rusty. This is not a 45-minute unboxing video about a simple box set from Goodman Games. So there you are, the Chain Coffin Dungeon Crawl Classics. I am looking forward into reading into this further. And if my will breaks and I decide to open up the cellophane copy of the adventure and the wheel and whatever else might be inside there, maybe I'll do a short on it and confess to the world that I am not a true collector. But c'est la vie. Thank you for watching, and please check out the other videos that I have here. I thank everyone for the recent surge in subscribers. It's nice. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, though, I just do this for fun, and the more subscribers that I get, the more reach that I have in showing people the games that I pick up, the certain experiences that I have with the games that I have, and likewise, my own personal perspective on some of the games when I do things like my pull from the shelf, when I do a deep dive, when I have my son and other friends on here. So thank you. Thank you, one and all. I do appreciate it. And maybe someday, it might reach 1,000. That'd be nice. But this is entirely for the love of the hobby, and hopefully you are enjoying what it is I am providing here. Any questions? This is something that I'm getting in a habit of doing with Boxset. Is there something that I may have missed? Was there something else that that you would have liked for me to have focused upon within anything that I've unboxed? That way, I may come back to this and do a deep dive in a pull from the shelf or any of the other things that I do unboxings for. So let me know. That would be fantastic. So this has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Ooh, shit, that's the microphone. Bye.